family is trapped in a terrifying place. No one can leave.
Why can't they leave us alone? Hello.
This place will not break us. The only way we go home is together.
With From Season 3 drawing closer and closer, we are continuing to learn some very intriguing new information about the upcoming season and some of the new challenges and dangers that the town is going to be faced with. Not only will the survivors have to contend with the harsh realities of Fromville and all of the dangers therein, but based off some of the information that we're learning from Season 3, it looks like they might also have to worry about threats coming from within the town. And based off some of these Season 3 episode details, it looks like the town may just be starting to lose their faith in Boyd. Now, the town of Fromville itself is always dangerous, even on its best day, but looking at the conditions that our survivors are heading into in this upcoming season, it looks like things are going to start to get more dire and more dangerous than ever before. With new threats arising from within the forest, to a food shortage that is getting worse and worse, and to a winter that is seemingly moving in, making the conditions much more inhospitable, it looks like the town is going to contend with far more than they ever have had to in the past. And based on some of the themes that they have been teasing for the upcoming season, you start to wonder if breaking the town's spirit is the ultimate goal. And from what we've seen in the trailers, it looks like the best way that the monsters are going about doing that is trying to break Boyd, who, in a sense, is pretty much the living embodiment of the town's hope. After all, it was Boyd who almost single-handedly turned this town into a nightmarish landscape with no hope of survival, to a place where people could actually live and start to build a life for themselves. Which of course begs another question, just what exactly is going to happen in Season 3 that is going to lead the town to start to question Boyd's ability to lead? What kind of devastating conditions are heading the town's way, or what tough decisions is Boyd going to be forced to make that might paint himself in a less favorable light among the town? When we take a closer look at the Season 3 synopsis, we start to notice a pattern beginning to emerge, starting right from the very first episode in Season 3, where it states that Boyd is already starting to feel the town slip from his grasp. A situation that is undoubtedly going to continue to get worse as the season progresses, which the funeral scene in the Season 3 trailer is certainly an indication of. And based on the show devoting an entire funeral scene to this character, I get the feeling it is not going to be a background character, but more likely one of our mains that we are going to lose pretty early on in Season 3. And based on who this character is, and the circumstances under which they died, it could potentially start causing the town to question some of Boyd's decisions. And based off some of the details in the Season 3 trailer, I think there are a few things that we might be able to point to that could potentially turn the town against Boyd. One of which being the incoming food shortage that seems to only be getting worse. Towards the end of Season 2, we saw the Matthews family, Tien Chen, and Donna rationing what little food they had left to try and stretch it as long as possible, as we hear Donna state that they have only around a month's worth of food left. A situation that has seemingly gotten even more dire as Donna states that they are out of food in the Season 3 trailer. And one could definitely understand why a situation like this would add more friction to the town and even more pressure on Boyd's shoulders, not only as the town's sheriff and its protector, but also as the town's leader as well, as they will undoubtedly be looking to him to solve this food shortage crisis. And if he is unable to do so, this would definitely be something that would shake their faith in him as their leader. And based off the Season 3 trailer, we see a scene of Boyd addressing a portion of the town, trying to convince them that this place will not break them and how they need to stick together. So it looks like trouble is indeed brewing at some point in Season 3. And on top of the food shortages and the harshening weather conditions, the townsfolk are also going to be faced with a myriad of other horrors originating in the forest. And we hear one line in particular from Boyd in the trailer stating that no matter what this place throws at us, we're going to find a way out. So it looks like the monsters might be upping their game this season and potentially even changing their tactics again, as we hear Boyd speaking to Donna about some kind of ambush that takes place. And I think this is also a scene that we get a glimpse of in the trailer, as we see a shot of Jade, Victor, and Kenny's mother all outside seemingly trying to wrangle up the livestock that has gotten loose. And part of me wouldn't be surprised if it was actually the monsters themselves that set these animals loose, in hopes of luring some of the townsfolk out of their homes at night to set an ambush. As we see the monsters begin to descend on the barn as our survivors are trying to wrangle up the animals. which could also potentially explain how Boyd ends up being captured by the monsters and held captive in the barn as he is forced to watch something hideous based on his reaction. Could Boyd potentially come to the rescue of Jade, Tien-Chen, and Victor only to end up captured himself? Could that have been the monsters' plan the entire time? After all, it does seem like they are taking a very special interest in Boyd, and it doesn't seem like they necessarily want to kill him. It looks like they are trying to break him. And if they were to somehow succeed, that would certainly go a very long way in getting the town to start to lose a little bit of their faith in Boyd as their leader. After all, who wants to follow a broken man? Another possibility for the ambush that is referred to in the trailer could potentially be when the ambulance arrives, as it has the unfortunate circumstance of arriving during the dead of night. And I do think this has the potential to be one of the more interesting scenes in the season, as this is the first time we have ever actually seen a nighttime arrival in Fromville, which could also be another possibility for when Boyd is taken captive as well, as we see him outside at the ambulance searching for the keys as he is approached by one of the monsters, as it states that Boyd cannot save them all, which again is another example of the monsters not necessarily trying to take Boyd out, but trying to push him to his mental breaking point. And could the repeated attempts to try and break Boyd end up having such a dire effect on him that it ends up impeding his ability to lead the town and keep everybody safe? After all, based on some of the synopsis for Season 3, it looks like Boyd at some point is going to attempt to enact a very dangerous plan, a plan that some of the townsfolk will actively try to talk him out of. And on top of that, it also states that Boyd is going to be forced to make some very difficult decisions when some newcomers arrive in town, which is most likely going to be the ambulance that we see arriving in the Season 3 trailer. And with all of these incoming problems continuing to stack up, along with the numerous different horrors that are surrounding them in the forest on a daily basis, could all of this start to become just a little bit too much for Boyd? Could he be becoming overwhelmed trying to handle all of this by himself? After all, we have seen that Boyd isn't exactly talkative when it comes to his feelings and sharing anything with everybody else, and could bottling all of that up for such a long amount of time finally boil over to the surface? Or could there also potentially be some problems a little bit closer to home for Boyd that are starting to spill over into the town? After all, we did find out in Season 2 that Fatima is indeed pregnant with Ellis's child, making Boyd a soon-to-be grandfather, which could potentially add even more stress to Boyd's life, as it doesn't exactly look like Fatima's pregnancy is going to be a normal one. From her being convinced that she could not even get pregnant in the first place, to Ellis continuing to have thoughts of the baby being born with fangs and claws, the show might just be setting us up for a massive heartbreak where this baby and Fatima are concerned. And if one of the ultimate goals of the town is indeed to break Boyd's spirit, then what better way to do so than to go after him where it hurts the most? His family. But overall, I definitely get the feeling this is going to be the toughest season for Boyd up until this point, and he will be faced with numerous different difficult decisions that will either make or potentially end up breaking this town for good, depending on which way he chooses. So it certainly appears like the stakes have never been higher heading into Season 3, and I cannot wait to see what kind of answers and what kind of surprises they have for us along the way. But definitely leave your thoughts and comments down below. How do you think Season 3 is going to play out, and will the town be successful in breaking Boyd? But that is going to do it for us today. I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there for watching, and don't forget to hit a like on your way out, and subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date on all of our upcoming From content. And as always, keep those tinfoil hats on, folks, and I will see you on the next one.
It's all just a dream.
What if all this was designed just to see how we react?
What if this place is trying to torture me?
What if the people these monsters are killing, what if they're all in on it? What if this is all some kind of fucked up experiment?
What if the answers are out there, maybe we just didn't go out far enough?